Ellen DeGeneres, John Lennon, Sean Connery, Chris Brown, James Franco, Kevin Spacey, Lea Michele. Is it ever appropriate to enjoy and appreciate the fruits of the labor of performers that are either not very nice or have been accused or even convicted of egregious crimes, misdemeanors? I've got thoughts about separating the art from the artist, and if you want to know more, you've come to the right place. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Performance Perspective, where we watch different performances and then we share our perspectives. If you're new here, hey, I'm Care Darling, and if you're not, whoa, we are taking a blast to the past of some of my really early on videos. I think it was due to those videos. It allowed me to, create a thicker skin, and also understanding that it's okay to have conversations like this with people. Okay. Anyways, let's just get into it. Art has the remarkable ability to evoke emotions, challenge perceptions, and captivate audiences. It's a source of entertainment, inspiration, education, and even healing. However, the notion of separating the art from the artist remains a topic of significant debate. While some argue for a clear distinction between the creator and their creation, it is increasingly challenging to ignore the link between the two. We're shaped by our personal, lived experiences, and it's often the case that the amazing, sometimes award-winning performances that artists are able to deliver is precisely because of the influences of their personal history, lived life experiences, and beliefs. We live in an age of cancel culture, and I wanted to do an episode on this, focusing on performers and whether it's possible to appreciate their art, even if they're not the most virtuous and exemplary of human beings. I was motivated by two things that I recently experienced, one in my real life and one that I actually watched. Firstly, Performance Perspective has brought to my attention, let's say, an unhinged keyboard warrior by the name of Haley Hoops, who seems to be a particularly zealous Lea Michele fan and is obsessed with my channel. Once I think she's gone and moved on with her life, she searches for my channel and comments on the same video. For someone who doesn't like me at the time of recording this episode, they have commented 54 times. Here are some of my favorite things that she said. Why am I not surprised? Another child looking for attention by bringing up irrelevant crap about Lee. She's funny girl. She's doing amazing. Get over it. At Performance Perspective. Great. So all you're gonna do is keep on exposing yourself to be a Lee hater. 6 months later, and people still love her despite your attention-seeking rubbish. It was specifically this comment that got me thinking, you know what, I think it's time to have another Lea Michele update. The second reason why I wanted to do this video stems from a recent viewing of the 2023 Oscar-nominated movie Tar, starring Cate Blanchett, and to be honest, it doesn't rank as one of my favorite films I've ever watched, but there's a scene I find relevant to this conversation. When I created my first video about the announcement that Lea was the replacement for Funny Girl, I reacted to an article and I felt the reason why there was such an uproar about this choice was because of Lea's known history of bullying and racist allegations. Don't take my word for it, you could go ahead and listen to what her former colleagues have said about her.
After Samantha sent out that tweet, so many people came out of the woodworks and they were ready to talk about their experiences with Lea and to support Samantha. Another actor named Gerard wrote, "You are nothing but a nightmare to me and my fellow understudy castmates. You made us feel like we didn't belong there. I tried to be nice to you for years with no avail. Maybe actually apologize instead of placing the blame on how others perceive you." Former Elle Australia editor claims Glee star Lea Michele kicked a shoe at an assistant and made her cry during a violent on-set outburst. The editor's name is Justine Cullen, and she said that Lea was violent towards her own employees. She wrote, "It's the next tier down who always surprise you, like Lea Michele from Glee, who in just 1 minute on-set moments kicked a shoe at my fashion director and made her cry. She was unpleasant."
Reflecting on my videos on what some commenters posted, it was clear that it didn't matter how talented Lea is. She gave me the ick and I was done. Keep in mind that I was a gleek who loved her character. I was a fan of hers, and I even went to a concert where she sang with Seth MacFarlane. It was hard for me to explain the reasons why I felt the way I did. That was until I watched the movie Tar. Tar is a fictional story that feels like a biopic. It stars Cate Blanchett as Lydia Tarr, a pioneering conductor, and at the start of the film is the first female principal conductor of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. The story begins at the height of her career as she prepares to conduct Mahler's Fifth Symphony, and from there we start to see her life unravel when she is accused of being a groomer. There's a scene in Tar when Lydia is teaching a class at the Juilliard School in New York, and one of her students states that he doesn't like to play music composed by Sebastian Bach because of his past misogynistic behavior. You can see Tar becoming frustrated with the conversation because why care about Bach's past when he has produced impeccable music? Over the course of the film, we the viewer learn that it's not hard to understand why Lydia has this perspective. Now, I want to stress that the crucial difference between what fictional Lydia Tarr does and what Lea Michele has been accused of in the past is that Tarr's actions are potentially criminal. However, criminality aside, both individuals' behavior is inappropriate, especially in professional workspace. You can also compare Lydia Tarr to Alice Ripley, Harvey Weinstein, and Kevin Spacey, to list just a few. Although they are all highly accomplished, once their misdemeanors and crimes came to light, they faced the consequences, either through criminal conviction or becoming ostracized. This raises the question, is it possible to separate the artist from the art? And my answer is no. Art serves as a medium for artists to communicate their thoughts, emotions, and personal experiences. Their work often reflects their struggles, joys, and perspectives by immersing themselves in the creative process. Artists infuse their art with their unique identity. As viewers, we cannot help but interpret art through the lens of the artist's experience, blurring the line between the artwork and its creator. Art relies on interpretation, assigning meaning in a piece or a performance, which is the essential role of us, the audience. And it's precisely because of this that an artist's reputation, actions, or beliefs can taint the perception of their work. If an artist is known for controversial or morally reprehensible behavior, it becomes difficult for the audience to separate the art from such negative associations. For example, Laura Osnes, she was a prominent Broadway star, and when the pandemic happened and people were going back to work, it came out in the New York Post that she was fired because she did not want to get any of the vaccinations. The backlash was happening because a lot of the people felt that she was being selfish and that she was putting others in harm's way by not getting the vaccine. Currently, she is suing the New York Post saying, no, I wasn't fired, but I quit. The point I'm trying to make is that due to the backlash, she is still not able to get back to what her career was like before. Think about a hypothetical performance that requires cruelty. Any performer worth their salt will definitely draw from their past experiences involving either administrating or being on the receiving end of a cruel act to help craft their delivery. Therefore, the viewer's knowledge of the artist's character can't help but cast a shadow over the appreciation of their creation or talent, thereby rendering separation of the art from the artist nearly impossible. So maybe you're wondering, how can a problematic artist come back? And let's go ahead and use Lea Michele as an example. When a problematic artist faces public scrutiny and backlash due to their behavior, the career can hang in the balance. However, with genuine efforts towards growth and change, it is possible for an artist to embark on a journey of redemption. Think Lindsay Lohan, Mel Gibson, and Robert Downey Jr. The first crucial step for a problematic artist is to acknowledge and take responsibility for their past actions. By openly admitting to their mistakes, they can begin the process of contrition, self-reflection, and demonstrate a genuine willingness to learn from their behavior. This acknowledgement sets the foundation for personal growth and paves the way for rebuilding their career. Let's read the apology and you be the judge. One of the most important lessons of the last last few weeks is that we need to take the time to listen and learn about other people's perspectives and any role we have played or anything we can do to help address the injustices that they face. When I tweeted the other day, it was meant to be a show of support for our friends and neighbors and communities of color during this really difficult time. But the responses I've received to what I posted have made me also focus specifically on how my own behavior towards fellow cast members was perceived by them. While I don't remember ever making the specific statement, and I have never judged others by their background or color of their skin, that's not really the point. What matters is that I clearly acted in ways which hurt other people, whether it was my privileged position and perspective that caused me to be perceived as insensitive or inappropriate at times, or whether it was just my immaturity and me just being unnecessarily difficult. I apologize for my behavior and for any pain which I have caused. We all can grow and change, and I have definitely used these past several months to reflect on my own shortcomings. I am a couple of months from becoming a mother, and I know I need to keep working to better myself and take responsibility for my actions so that I can be a real role model for my child, and so I can pass along my lessons and mistakes so that they can learn from me. I listen to these criticisms and I am learning, and while I am very sorry, I will be better in the future from this experience. On an initial reading, it's reasonable to assume it's a real apology, and I have no reason to roll my eyes or feel that it was disingenuous. But here's what I like to point out. In the beginning, she never apologizes for her bullying or using her power to allegedly get other cast members fired, but is sorry for how people might have perceived her past behavior. Lea goes on to say she doesn't remember making that statement and that she's not racist, but that's not the point, even though she supposedly wrote and issued her statement in order to make a point. She then finally says sorry for her behavior and any pain she caused. However, before she gets there, she mentions that this might be attributed to her youth, specifically her immaturity, which could account for why she might have been difficult to work with. In addition, her apology seems aimed at how she was perceived, instead of saying sorry for her actions. She's essentially saying she's sorry for how her actions might have been perceived by others. The former is the person taking full accountability for their behavior, while the latter puts the fault on the injured party for having their feelings hurt. But I get it. Let's be fair though. True change comes from within. Words alone are insufficient. Actions must follow. This may involve supporting causes that counteract the harm they caused, actively engaging in personal development, or using their platform to promote positive change and awareness. These actions speak louder than words and allow the public to witness the artist's growth firsthand. Now, you can say Lea has done all of this, but to me, it seems very staged. I also find it highly suspicious that in all of the available interviews I've seen, she has never been asked to address past allegations of bullying or racism. It's glossed over, and maybe she feels that her statement online is enough, which apparently it is, given that she was cast in Funny Girl as if nothing ever happened. Rebuilding a career and regaining public trust is a gradual process that requires patience and perseverance. The artist must be prepared for setbacks and understanding that progress takes time. However, I think that in the case of Lea Michele, financial expedience came into play. We all remember the COVID pandemic, right? This hit Broadway and performing arts in general really hard during the 2021-2022 season. There were only 42 weeks of performances due to the pandemic-related cancellations, resulting in gross revenue of $845 million, which is 50% less than the revenue reported just 2 years earlier. Despite Lea Michele's bad press, she is still a world-renowned talent and box office draw. So I think that her casting in Funny Girl was a simple business decision that prioritized revenue over any ethical considerations, pure and simple. So if my belief is that you can't separate the art from the artist, then it's my point of view. I have the right to support who I'd like and talk about why I may not be a fan of someone. I can have that conversation with people, and I recommend the same for you. There are people following me who love Lea Michele because she is talented and they don't have an issue with her past actions, and that's their opinion. Now, I don't want you darlings thinking that I'm just singling out Lea Michele because, to be honest, this goes way beyond her. There are horrible people whose work and contributions have provided many good things for mankind. Why is it okay in some instances to ignore past transgressions while in others, individuals must be held to account? And on the flip side, how can we acknowledge their work, art, and still talk about their heinous acts? Anyways, those are just my thoughts, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's it for today's episode. I'd love to hear your perspective and opinions on the reasons when, if it's ever possible to separate the art from the artist. And without further ado, take care, darling.